Welcome to Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast.
We are back for another episode of Around the Rinks. I'm Noah, joined by Brendan, Kylee, and Reece, and we're going to start it right off. Oilers trading for Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick for a first-round pick and a conditional fifth that can turn into a fourth if the Oilers win it all.
Hell.
Wow.
Wow.
Jenny money.
Just happened. Like, we weren't prepared to talk about this at all, but, like, here we are. Trade deadline special right before. So it's going to be a fun episode. Let's go right into this Oilers trade, though. So, Brendan, what do you think?
I think it is absolutely fantastic all the way around. I was excited before I knew what the return was. Now that we see the return, that it's a fifth and a conditional fifth and a first.
Yep.
Come on. Like,
that's a great deal.
Great deal.
Extremely how the center market is right now, and having Henrique as probably the top center in the trade deadline rumors. I think this is great for Edmonton, and Sam Carrick as an other piece in that as well.
Well, it shores up your fourth line that's been struggling, right? This guy, he's not going to blow you away on the stat page, but you know, he can put the puck in the net. He plays a physical brand of hockey.
And he's one of the smartest players out there in the bottom six. Like, he can kill, and you know, he's a big physical guy as well, which I think Edmonton needs more of.
100%.
And
100%. He's been wearing a letter for Anaheim too, and I think
he's a leader.
That whole I think Edmonton is a team full of guys that are full on team first, don't care what their role is, ready to go, and being able to shore up the forward group, they might still need a top six forward, that would be ideal, but having a third line center, McLeod can move to wing and play use his speed on those half walls and everything. I think this really, really helps up.
Yeah, and there's so many options, right? You can go so many different ways with this lineup through the middle six. It's phenomenal.
Okay, more things just dropped. Oilers are getting more. Oilers are also getting a 7th round pick in the trade.
Wow.
So
dang.
Thank you.
Just icing on top, right? Cherry right on the top right there.
That feels like something you cook up on Chell, easy mode.
Yeah, throw in an extra 7.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't get rid of anybody with that trade.
Yeah. The fact that they made the salary work and everything.
Yeah, because our salary is ooh.
There is going to be a third team involved, which we currently don't know yet. Hopefully by then we do. But
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't either, though, right?
Well, Henrique's at 5.5, I want to say, on his last year.
Ish.
So you're going to get 75% or only 25% of that contract on your team. So that's only not a big math guy, but that's one point some. So depending what his price is.
Carrick's
too, right? So that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
So
if we do give away somebody, who do you guys want in that trade?
I don't think you give anybody away.
No, if we would do another possible trade, who would you guys want on the chopping block?
I think it's gonna have to be Fogle.
Yeah, the expiring contract just makes too much sense.
And he's making either just about $3 million or a little bit over $3 million.
Yeah.
And I think they can find some more stuff that is more worth it.
No, if you can get an upgrade for Fogle, I think that's probably just about it you can really do to this roster.
Depth D-man and
a 6 or 7.
I don't want to move the D-core right now. I like the way it's moving. Yeah, everybody's playing good. I think CC has the worst goal share at 49%.
Yeah.
Better than Brown.
Is unbelievable. If that's your worst D-man,
there's no problem.
It's just we need money off there's going to be a summertime move because Bouchard's going to demand a little bit of money here, but
don't even worry about that now.
Such a summertime problem right now. We are worried about the parade and it running, what street.
I do want to give out a shout out to Desharnais last night. I think he played the best out of any of the defensemen, even being paired up with Nurse. I think that's crazy. He almost or did beat his block. How many blocks he's ever made in a game. I think that was 6, and I think he had 5 or more than that. And that block he made in the first period was amazing. That definitely saved a goal.
I think it's been awesome to see Desharnais getting a bit of a promotion. He's one of the hardest working players on the team for sure. And I think he's definitely deserving of it.
And a little bit of a showcase too, right?
Exactly.
He can play.
Let's see if you can do
against the top lines, right? He's very capable. you wish his foot speed was a little bit better, but you could pick something out from every player.
I forget who it was yesterday, but they were comparing Darnay to Yanni Hakanpää in Dallas. And that's just a great comparison. Like, almost your pure defensive defenseman.
And a great name, too.
And another great name, like Darnay, right? So, what a great story he is, right? Like, 6th-rounder, I think it was.
Yeah.
Maybe even 7th. I forget now. But making his way all the way up to the big club. And it's a great story, and I think he stays. And he's going to be a great playoff performer as well.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, he's bred for that kind of hockey.
Seriously. Just a note, Carrick is also 51% of his faceoffs.
Yeah, great
And
face-off.
has,
Same with Henrique.
137 hits this year,
So
which makes me really happy. And
He's a right-handed center, a much-needed right-handed guy that's going to take draws.
And that's going to help on the PK as well, right?
Huge.
Because,
Just options, man.
it's always good to have the different handedness on each side of the dot, right?
You could just play your strong side, because otherwise, every other guy that's taking draws on that roster, except for Derek Ryan, who isn't really your
he's not your true
pure
center.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, yeah.
I think
Fantastic.
the Oilers can always use some more toughness too.
Oh,
Yeah.
always. Not only the Oilers, right? Like, when you get to playoffs, it matters.
Another reason
Yeah.
they got Perry, right? So, and that's just like that. Now that bottom 6 are the whole core, actually. The forward core is just looking crazy.
Yeah.
So,
Guys with experience.
yeah, right? And people who want to win, then like how Reece said, like as a team, not individually, they don't care about individual awards anymore. They want to go all the way. They want to go deep, right?
Well, and
So-
guys, yeah, guys too. I think maybe a little understated, and maybe not in our circle, but just hockey fans in general, coming from the
Wow.
Breaking news.
Huge news. Buffalo Sabres are trading Casey Middlestat to the Colorado Avalanche for Boehm Byram.
wow,
holy shit.
wow,
Wow.
that makes that Sean Walker trade a little bit more
That
sense.
is
Wow.
Kevin Weeks' report.
Oh, I
Weeks
can't
is
wait to
one
see
for
that
one
video.
for right now?
Looking at it right now. For what we know right now, it's just a 1-for-1.
I assume
there's going to be more.
Buffalo's got to add more.
Yeah, I would
Wow.
think.
Oh my. So
That's crazy.
Middlestat is going to be the second line center for Colorado now, which in another trade that we're going to talk about, they just traded Johansson, clearing up that spot for the center. Casey Middlestat's going to come right in. He's been great in Buffalo.
Yeah,
He's really, the last couple of years, like his first few years, it did not look like he was going to pan out.
Yeah.
But he's finally, truly found his form. And I think, this is big. I mean, you add him to a mix of, McKinnon, Rantanen, Makar, all those big boys. That's going to be pretty big. I might add him
Yeah.
in fantasy right now.
Boehm Byram too.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite defensemen in
Such
the
a
league,
smooth
right?
skater,
One of the
right?
best skaters. He's very similar to Makar in a way, as his skating is
Yeah,
just
makes it look
so
easy.
good, and he's so fast. Wow, that is great for, and now the Sabres decor.
Yeah.
That is
Seriously.
that's
young and good.
young, fast, good.
Yeah, that left
That
side's
is-
real short up.
Wow,
Colorado just got a lot scarier.
and
Well,
Colorado.
Same thing for Middlestat, the point I was just about to make. Understated in the sense where you go from a team that is out of it, right? You're not playing for anything except the next contract to a team that is looking to make a deep run. That can only motivate anybody. For Carrick, for Henrique, for Middlestat, fantastic for those guys and their careers, and
That is
fantastic
insane.
for these teams.
Everything is just. This is the trade
What
deadline.
a day,
right now.
yeah. Holy Dinah.
Big Wednesday morning, right?
I haven't even touched on Tarasenko.
Seriously, yeah.
And it is a 1-for-1.
Wow.
What were you
That
saying
is a
before that?
hockey
then?
trade right there.
That is a hockey trade.
That's crazy.
That is probably the biggest trade we're gonna see.
I didn't
one of the
expect- I
biggest
didn't-
trades.
I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, that's out of nowhere. No rumors at all that I've seen.
Those are my favorite ones.
Just
Surprise.
added Casey Middlestat, dropped Elias Lindholm.
Yeah, bum.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that happens now, because I feel like everyone's just unloading now. Once one trade happened, it's gonna rain. It's gonna pour.
Well, yeah, that's crazy. Do we want to move on to
Yeah,
Tarasenko?
we're gonna start where it all started off, I guess. Tarasenko. getting traded for
It feels like a lifetime ago, and it was only
yeah,
a couple
right.
hours.
It's just a
Yeah.
couple hours ago. 2025 third round pick, a conditional 2024 fourth round pick, and that can change into a third if the Panthers win the cup. Tarasenko is going to Florida.
Wants to resign in Florida.
Yeah. So
5 years,
a lot of
4.6
people, a lot of people are not happy with this trade. Senators fans, extremely. You have no leverage with him though.
That's the one, right? I understand Senators fans being upset, thinking you could get more for a guy that's going to go impact a cup contending team.
Former 40 goal
Yeah.
scorer, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But what do you think? There's, like you said, there's no leverage. What do you
leverage.
expect, right?
So, and that's the problem. That's the risk of signing those 1 year deals and giving him a full no trade clause and everything because he picks where he wants to go. And
Yeah.
Tarasenko's family lives all in Florida.
Oh,
So
imagine
all of
that.
his family lives in Florida. And so that's the one destination he wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And honestly, for the conditions, like a third and a fourth is the best you're going to get in those conditions. Like, so Ottawa did the best they could.
No, it's not like why keep him, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
You can hold out for a better offer, but at the end
There's
of the day,
nothing.
you're going to one place.
Yeah.
This is the offer you got, and you're not making a run to even the playoffs, right? You're not competing for nothing. You may as well get something for him.
And then I'm going to move over to yesterday's trade. Anthony Mantha going to Vegas.
Does that?
Oh,
I mean, they got, they're wizards with their caps and
Yeah.
the LTIR and whatnot, but does that maybe make the Gensel thing a head scratcher? Do you think they're out on a higher end guy, or do you think
I
they're
don't think
still
so.
in the mix?
I think they'd still be in the mix, right?
Yeah, that's
Like,
scary too, hey?
And now both Vegas and Florida is getting better, so we could see a rematch from last year, for
Yeah.
all we know, right? So, like, it's for the LTIR. I hate blaming teams for doing it. It's a league thing, right? It's something
if you can go nuts.
Yeah, you might as well. Every team, and like it's been going on for almost a day. Like even like
it's well within the right.
the Blackhawks dynasty.
Yeah.
Like they did it every single year. Felt like, right? So
And look at how lucky they
same
got.
story.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mantha going to Vegas for a second and a fourth.
Another good deal.
Another great deal
And-
for Vegas. I think Mantha could have been he's having a great year. 20 goals, 14 assists for 34 points in 56 games. That could have changed last night. I don't know if he played, but I think that's a great move. Power forward, yes, kind of.
Put your
Speaking
hand down.
of Vegas, they have had 2 fat losses recently to 2 not so great teams. So they lost 2-7 against the Sabres, and then it was 3-something with the Blue Jackets. Like I think it was 3-8. I don't know why I have a number missing here. But yeah, it's just so I'm guessing Vegas could use it right now. Oilers are 3-5 points ahead of them now. Like it's not super.
Yeah, and
Close
games in hand,
anymore.
which is
Yeah.
handy
Yeah.
for us.
So
Keep
Vegas,
in mind that was before the Bowen Byram era started in Buffalo.
yeah, things can change now.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with Vegas. If they're going to stay in third, if they're going to get bumped down to fourth, or
there's
who knows?
so much hockey left, too.
Vegas
Yeah.
is sitting first in the wild card right now, tied with Nashville.
Oh, they're
who's
wild
been
card
on a
now.
Absolute heater. Actually, I got a fun Nashville stat here. The Predators are 8-0-1 since the coaching staff canceled the players' plans to see U2 at the Sphere in Vegas.
Big jokes
So-
about that one. The announcers keep bringing it up. They're
Yeah.
just making
And-
fun of how they're winning now since they got their family
Of
trip
course,
canceled.
they lost in overtime yesterday to Montreal, so the streak's over, but maybe won't lose in regulation ever again. So
Yeah, a lot of people are pissed about them getting their family time taken away, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
If you're losing heavily and they're giving you, I'm sure the league's paying for that trip. If they're paying for that trip and you're losing, the coach has every right to take that away. And then look what happened with that. That
And-
streak was a pretty good streak.
Yeah, right. And it just sets a tone in the room, right?
Yeah,
Just
it's like Kylie said, privilege is the perfect
Yeah,
word, right?
yeah.
Like, it's not a right, it's
It's
privilege.
yeah.
to hammer home the same word.
Yeah.
But like when the team's spinning, and at the end of the day, your job's to go win hockey games, and if there's something getting in the way of that, by all means.
I'm sure there is guys in the league though that would say fuck this guy. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I bet you the whole team was.
I don't even care about this game. I want to see you too.
Oh, the team was pissed, but they turned it around.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Lit a fire under their butts and
Yeah.
won
Go to
8.
the Sphere.
Yeah, you're millionaires. Get there on your own.
But yeah, what was I just about to say? Chris Tanev took his first game as a Dallas Star yesterday. Of
Yeah,
course, he
real
got-
shame we missed that one by a couple.
Yep.
Yep, saw those rumors.
Released our last podcast. Got traded like an hour after. Love that. So
What a scary team Dallas is now.
Yeah,
Like that
right.
defense, you got him, Lundell, Heiskanen, Harley.
yeah.
That team's good.
Hockenbaugh.
I also have
Yeah, like,
some notes on Stankoven, aka Stink Oven.
Stankoven.
He's an absolute dog.
Yep.
He's quick. He's only 5'8", which is crazy. He's kind of like Yami, just fast. He wasn't a first-round pick, and I'm sure he wasn't happy about that, and that lit a fire under his ass. And now the Stars are stacked.
Yeah.
Scary team.
He's gonna definitely help in this run. Now he played in Texas beginning of the season, absolutely lit it up. I think he was one of the best goals per game in the AHL.
One of the highest,
He was.
highest producing rookies in AHL history.
Yeah.
He just absolutely lit it up, and he's bringing the game over in the big club now. So
Yeah, he's fast. He just
yeah,
takes
he's
the
a
puck
fast
away
guy.
from you.
And
sinks
just
it.
adds more scoring to that absolutely stacked Dallas team, which I don't think gets talked about enough. Right?
Well, those scouts, we should give them a case study because they are
Seriously,
doing a
like,
fantastic
Yeah.
job
ridiculous
of drafting.
in the water
and
over there.
there's something in there, like just that one draft where it's Robertson and Ottinger and Heiskanen.
Yeah,
like,
that's disgusting.
that is just
And the following, you get Wyatt Johnston, who
Yep.
the Oilers picked Bordeaux over, and then you get Stankoven too. Like these are like guys that produced at
Real-
every single level they were at. They went, oh well, this is the best available, I assume, and it's lucked out for them every single time. Like Stankoven was a freak in the junior leagues. Like he led, I think it was the OHL in scoring like 2 years consecutively, I'm pretty sure. And then dominated the AHL and dominated the World Juniors. And, like, you kind of see just coming up, like, he's got 8 points in 6 games. He had 4 points last night and pretty much, like, started that comeback. They were down 6-3 to San Jose and
Sharks,
7-6. Like, they are a wagon. They're
Yeah.
probably, I think they're the most loaded team in the NHL right now. Like,
yeah, I can totally, like, from top to bottom. Yes, and you
they
have
don't have a hole.
Ottinger now.
they've
right?
got the
Like,
best
they don't have
top
a hole.
9. Yeah, like you look at Robertson, Hintz, Pavelski, Stankoven, Johnston,
Sagan, Ben,
Marchman, like
even Marchman's a good
wagon.
one. Yeah,
Like
Duchesne on there?
Duchesne.
Duchesne,
Like what? Like
You just off the
And
top of
then
your head
another-
rattle off 9
yeah,
real,
exactly.
honest, good NHL players.
I think they've probably got 6 top 6 or top 4 defensemen.
yeah,
like honestly.
and now you have Chris Tanev.
And then
Like-
and you've got Ottinger and Net, who's been hot and cold this season. But I mean, like,
I'll ride
come
with
playoff time, there's not a whole lot of goalies that have played
Yeah.
better.
And they
I-
just added more toughness with Tanev for their
Seriously.
playoffs run.
He's an absolute
I don't
warrior.
like
He's a unit,
they are.
so-
I think the scariest team right now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
until somebody adds
Until
more,
Florida
this-
makes another pick or another trade for Gensel or whatever. Like,
And they've just flown so under the radar. Like there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot that you hear about them. And I mean, like,
not at all. Like,
Just like the
Robertson and
Jets.
Hintz haven't had like amazing seasons by any means, but like just everybody on that team can do it, and it's like ridiculous to think about.
yeah,
like
and it's just like they built that team because they went on. They had Ben and Sagan on the first line, and they had all the rookies in that 2020 playoff run to the Cup final. Like they had all the rookies in the bottom 6 and whatnot, and now it's kind of transferred. I feel like they've rebuilt or retooled the most perfect way possible.
seriously,
Like,
and
picture perfect.
like it looked bad there for a while when the owner was bitching and moaning about like Ben and Sagan
Yeah.
making too much money and like
when Ben
it-
Bishop goes down,
Yeah,
and
like-
Klingberg's kind of a a
Exactly.
shadow of himself, and what's happening in Dallas, and all of a sudden,
boom,
yeah,
it's actually been a pretty incredible retool they've had there, all based off of their drafts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then, it gives you the luxury, like you said, Duchesne, you can go get a guy that is bought out and getting paid from Nashville still. to come for no money
Yeah.
and play for you. Like
Also helps here in Texas as well.
Oh,
State
huge.
tax.
No state tax.
It's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the place to be.
It's a very attractive
making money.
place to be.
And the housing market is ridiculous too.
So
Yeah, and the media's gonna leave you alone.
Another trade is fully done now. Sean Walker going to Colorado, also with a 5th round pick for Ryan Johansson, who just got placed on waivers,
Oh,
and a 2025 first round pick, which is top 10 protected. So Sean Walker goes for a first.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's another team where their defense, I mean, they lose Byram, obviously.
And now you
but,
got
like,
Walker in.
That's just another team that is a wagon. And, I mean, like, honestly, their bottom 6 forwards might not be that legit. Like, I don't really think that highly of them. But when you've got a top 6 like they do and a D-core like they do, they're going to make some noise for sure. Like, they won't be a first-round exit again. For
Yeah,
sure.
I like to compare Colorado to Boston, like, all the time. Besides now the goaltending in Boston's, like, probably the best in the league. But just, like, kind of the forward core is kind of shaky, extremely in the bottom 6. But that D-core is just, for both teams, are now looking dangerous. You replace Byram with Sean Walker, and you also get your second-line center in Middlestat now. So Colorado can make another run here.
And so, since Walker moves, that means Sealer is probably definitely staying in Philly.
Yeah. That was a rumor before all the trades went down, is that they were going to do an extension, which is good because Flyers are still in the playoffs right now, right? So they can still make it.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout out to Zach Hyman. He just lost his streak. Like, we went 6 straight games with a goal. He had 8 goals over the stretch. He's currently still on a 9-game home goal scoring streak. He has 12 goals in 9 straight home games. Like, that's ridiculous. This is the best. I've probably say it every single week. This is the best contract in the NHL, maybe in free agency history. This dude is a freak. If they can add anything to that top 6, like, they are such a wagon. Like, they might not stack up that well against some of these other teams, but when you add everything together, like, this is gonna be an unreal playoff run. Yeah. Like, for the NHL as a collective. Yeah. Like,
I say this is like the most we've had stacked teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
seriously.
Usually you'll have 1 or 2 picks, where one in the East, one in the West, usually, where it's like, okay, those teams are probably gonna make it. There are so many to pick from now.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun playoff.
It's going to be a great playoff and a great race to the playoffs as well.
Yeah, there's no, like, oh, that Tampa Bay team is, like, loaded. Like, there's no, like, there's no clear-cut favorite to win the Cup. Like, there's no President's Trophy, like, dominating team. Like, I think for the President's Trophy, like, the teams are separated by,
yeah,
like,
it almost changes every
exactly.
other week, right? Mm-hmm. And bringing back to Florida, who just got Tarasenko, they can make a run for the President's Trophy again. So
I did see that Max Pacioretty wants to go
to
Florida.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
Like, I mean, if they just add, like, I think it did suck for them losing Gudas last year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that is still a hole that they have. If they can add a defenseman, like, I think that would be pretty huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you might as well just add Pacioretty if he wants to go there, and it's not going to cost much, I'd assume.
Yeah, and the second half of the show will, like, go into our picks for the trade deadline and our predictions and whatnot. I'm going to bring it to Rasmus Sandin. Got signed this morning. 5 years times $4.6 million AAV. I love Sandin so much. Great young defenseman. I think Capitals got a bargain trading for him. I think he's going to be one of the top guys now in Washington, which they need to start this rebuild, clearly.
Yeah,
Yesterday now. But yeah, I'm a big fan of him. 29th overall in 2018 from Toronto. 23 years old, and he's at career high with points this year. So, very underrated player.
Yeah.
No, it's a good contract for, like, years to come, too. I mean, if he can, if he's a quarterback of that power play, I mean, he'll at least get, like, 50 points, I'd say, pretty
Yeah,
much
right.
every year. And I mean, for
Extremely
full
feeding the
28,
Ovi,
yeah,
right?
Like,
Kind of taking the reign from Carlson there. JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, hitting 1,000 games as well last night.
Good for him.
I saw that.
I think he's going to have a ceremony next home game. I don't know when that is right now. But having a great year in Boston, honestly. I think that was a really underrated pickup from them. And extremely filling that slot because they lost a lot of forwards last year. So I feel like that JVR is just helping that Boston team out. He played pretty well last night against Edmonton. I really wish he scored there. But, he's pretty good. Anything else from you guys?
I got 2 hits to talk about.
Let's go.
So number 1, this one is not the favorite of the one I want to talk about, so I'll mention it first. Matt Dumba, Arizona Coyotes, crushes Bedard with a huge hit last night. Poor guy can't get a break. Mm-hmm. And then we have Pospisil's hit on Vince Dunn. And then he also gets the boot. As of right now, to my knowledge, we don't know how many games he's going to be out. Did Vince Dunn deserve it?
Oh, of course he didn't deserve it.
Well,
I think it was a dirty hit.
I think it was dirty, but I think my thing is, like, why was Buddy just standing there with his butt to his back? He was standing there for a couple seconds there, and I feel like he gave clear way for somebody to just slam him.
It still wasn't the right choice.
Yeah, that's a two-way street, right? Because you can argue, as a defenseman, you need to know where you're in a vulnerable spot. Right?
And in the video, he does check left, but it's coming from the right.
You only got half of it, man. Like, it's tough, right? Like, you can't stand there and expect everything to be rainbows and sunshine, right? You're playing in the National League. Things happen fast. You got to be aware. But at the same time, he was standing there for a long time, and all you saw was numbers. You don't drill the guy.
He also had
when
a
you see
very
numbers.
questionable hit on Larson, too. The same
literally
game.
right off opening draw.
Like, so...
Yeah, and Dunn was holding his neck, too. Announcer said he's holding his head, but he's clearly holding his neck.
I haven't seen anything from how long he's going to be out or if he's going to be out.
Yeah.
But
all I know is Pospisil's out, though.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's something we started to see a lot more in the NHL is, like, basically, like, defensemen putting themselves in
dangerous
these
spots,
positions so that they don't get hit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what it's really become is, like, oh, well, I'm literally facing the board so you can't hit me. And, I mean, like, it is, like, it makes sense. Like, if most guys are smart enough not to. But, I mean, like, it's 50-50, right? Like, it's like you were saying, it goes both ways. Like, these players have to be able to protect themselves. And then these players that are wanting to be physical and make that hit, like, they have to be smart enough to say, like, oh, this guy's in a vulnerable position. I'm probably going to get 5 in a game for this. So, like, it really, I don't know. It was,
But there's other ways around that, too, right? Like, you go up and pin him, right? You don't have to throw him through the boards.
Yeah.
Which is, and again, it happens fast.
Exactly.
I can respect the fact that the game moves faster than anything I've ever experienced.
Heat of the
like,
moment, right?
Yeah. But you see red, you see the puck, right? Like, you don't know what's going through his head in that point, right? And I can almost guarantee, I wouldn't think he's a scumbag and, wants to hurt him, right? Like, that'd be...
That's usually not the case for any...
He probably immediately regretted that.
Todd Bertuzzi.
I think a lot of the guys... I think a lot of them are starting to get a little too comfortable.
Well, Luke Hughes is a perfect example of that, right? Like, one of the best defensive prospects in the last couple drafts. Mm-hmm. And you just see him getting ran over and over again. And it's like, bad. Dude, pick your head up, right? Like, you got to help yourself.
Yeah.
That New Jersey team is... I hate saying it, but they're soft. Mm-hmm. And they traded for Curtis McDermott, one of the toughest guys in the league, fighter. A lot of people are scared to even fight him. He's like, he has that Ryan Reeves effect where no one's like, I don't want any deal with that. To try and help this forward core, which just doesn't stand up for anything, right? And I feel like that's been like one of the problems with New Jersey for the last couple years now.
Easy to play against, right? Like, you can snap it around.
Extremely losing a guy like Miles Wood, I think, right? Last year, and you're losing those guys, which, like...
Yeah, you can play with pace, but they also play heavy, right?
Yeah.
And you got to have somebody on the roster.
They're starting to look really thin, right? And I don't know what's going on in New Jersey. I really had them go into the playoffs this year. I still think they can try to make a push, but goaltending is another big question mark with that team as well. What is it? Just the other day, the GM came out and said goaltending is a problem, which you don't hear the GM, Tom Fitzpatrick, coming out and saying our goaltending has not been good enough. Like, that is crazy to hear.
That stays in house unless
goaltending market. We'll probably go into more in the second half for goalies they can possibly trade for, but they need to try to figure some things out. And now they fire Lindy.
It's too bad.
Ruff. Yeah.
I've never been a huge Lindy guy, but it is too bad.
Yeah, and it's for the same reasons, and for just not being tough enough, and almost not, I don't want to say competing, but not being on that like extra level of like having that extra step in front of you and whatnot. So Travis Green's coming in.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
We'll see
about that. Devils right now are 8 points out of a playoff with 2 games in hand, so it's not impossible at all.
No,
so
still 20 games, right? It's so much hockey, but
I don't think anybody expected this to be like this kind of season for New Jersey.
All.
I think like Jack Hughes getting hurt early on in the season really derailed things. And I mean, like, when you pay Timo Meier so much money, like, you really expect him to be able to like carry a line and like do that kind of thing, and he just hasn't. But I mean, like, also for Lindy Ruff, like, there's so many things that you can like just push and push and push and push, but at some point when they don't work, you have to step back and say, okay, maybe I gotta rethink this. Like, Meier was on PP1 for like the first tiny bit of the season, strapped to PP2 the rest of the year, and like second, third line, like, and like Holtz, like, he's a young player. Obviously, like, he's going to make mistakes. Like, that stuff's going to happen. But, I mean, like, when he's scoring goals and producing and you just have him stapled to the fourth line playing 8 minutes a night, like 10 minutes a night, that's not going to help anybody, like, improve or, like, the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would be different if you were winning, right?
Exactly.
But the fact that you're sputtering a little bit, like, switch it up, make something happen. And, who knows, maybe you wanted to get fired, because I still stand by a fired professional coach is the best gig anybody could ever have.
Seriously.
It is crazy how the NHL coaching job this year has not been stable whatsoever.
Don't get into coaching for stability, eh?
Yeah, not at all. Like, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit to see one of my tweets here, because I've been keeping track. I want to say I think it's the 8th coaching change since the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I do want to double check, but like,
it is third of the league,
and I think it's 14 since last year. Like, it is kind of crazy how.
And it makes you appreciate the guys like John Cooper in Tampa.
Yeah, right. Who's been there for so long?
Seriously,
right?
yeah.
It feels like 20 years.
Even Bednar in Colorado, like, he was there when they were bad.
Yep.
And they sat with him, and like, it's definitely paid off. But I mean, also, like, you gotta kind of think, like, maybe them losing McLeod and Foote to the whole like World Junior stuff, like, maybe that really affected that team.
Oh,
like,
100%.
I mean, you lose 2 guys like that, and everybody's probably kind of sitting there going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And, like, who knows, like, what that does to a group of guys like that. I mean, McLeod was there for a while.
Yeah. It's a bunch of media attention, right? It turns into a circus a little bit, and playing games could easily become a second thought, right?
Exactly.
And I was right about the 8th coaching change since June and 14th since last season.
Humble brag.
Still, yeah, no big deal, even though I wrote the tweet. Like,
Big stats guy.
Big stats guy. But that is just, it's kind of crazy how many coaching fire. And it's kind of been a 50-50 success rate, it feels like. I feel like the first couple coaches that did get fired, like Woodcroft, for example, and Knob came in and it worked out, right?
Yeah, we got lucky.
It's, actually, Ottawa, for example, like, it's...
Mini.
Yeah, right, like, in Minnesota, like, it's...
Just hasn't worked quite the same.
Yeah, right, and we'll see recycling a coach like Travis Green is going to work out for New Jersey.
Do you think it's a long-term thing? I don't think
No, not at all. I don't think.
That's
I don't think
a
he can
place
be
filler.
a head coach, honestly. Like,
we've seen that.
And like, no disrespect to Travis Green. Like, when he was in
But
Vancouver.
wind it up.
Yeah, I'm going to wind it up, though.
Disrespect, but...
hopefully when he listens to this, he won't take it to heart.
Yeah, but like, he is. I think they just went for a guy that is the complete opposite of Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff is your old school going to cigar lounge bars and type of guy. He's your old school guy. Travis Green is a guy that you'll make friends with.
Yep.
Right? He's going to be a guy that which
maybe they need
for
right
Holtz,
now, right?
Right. For a guy like Alexander Holtz, it could help out. Right. I don't think he's a playoff coach, and so this might change the way how New Jersey is going to be built. We'll see. Maybe it's just a half a year thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably where it'll end up, but who knows, right? Time will tell.
Trade talk time.
Yeah.
12:30.
So we're gonna move to our trade predictions. There's a couple more things that we could talk about, like the Labushkin trade, but whatever.
That doesn't
Screw
move
that.
the needle at all.
Or
Yeah,
actually,
but
sorry, one more thing. Elias Pettersson. Almost forgot a big one.
Yeah, shoot.
Signs an 8-year deal, $92.8 million, which is 11.6 per year. Whoo, he got the bag.
Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
sounds like they really moved that process up. Like, it sounds like basically like they were going on a bit of a skid, and it was basically like every reporter, all they were asking was,
the
okay,
same
what is
question.
going on? To the teammates, to everybody. Like, I think it's basically management came down and said, like, look, you can really make a lot of people happy right now if we just get this done.
It's a locker room thing too, right? Like, you have that deal done, because Pettersson's never been a guy who talks, right? So even teammates probably don't even know what's going to happen with him, right? I think
That's not necessarily his job.
no, not at all, not at all.
Right?
Like,
Like that stays between the agent and
but
management.
him not
and-
saying anything makes
the question marks, and then
it
people
makes a lot of question marks.
People start drawing conclusions, and that only creates another circus, right?
And I think Rick Tocchet, it might be the X factor here. I think he's really made a change in this locker room, and
It
I
shows.
think
Just look at the standings from year to year.
look at this year and extremely. It's just the winning attitude in Vancouver. I think really changed Pettersson. Or who knows if he even changed his mind? Maybe he wanted to stay in Vancouver, but
Yeah,
we'll never know, really,
And,
right?
for Vancouver fans, you got your guy.
you got your guy, and he's staying there. No Carolina Hurricanes trade or anything.
Yeah, and as a Edmonton Oilers fan, I was hoping so
Yeah.
badly. Move him for nothing.
You got one more thing to say, Reese? Or is that what you wanted to bring up?
That was about it.
Okay. We're going to move to our trade deadline predictions. Had a whole bunch written down. Most of them got traded. So we're going to start with probably the biggest defenseman on the board, Noah Hannafin out in Calgary. 61 games played this year, 35 points, $4.95 million just for the rest of this season. So he's on a really good cap hit, which can be retained for 50%. So you can get Noah Hannafin for a couple $1 million, which it looks pretty good. I don't know. I want me to say a couple teams that are interested and pass it along to you guys?
Yeah, which ones need
I don't even know if they're
defensemen?
it's the cliche answer, but does Tampa not get this guy?
Yeah, I like.
How does Tampa not get this
Noah
guy?
Hannafin is I think already, or his agent reported he wants to go to Tampa. Mm-hmm. He wants to be a Lightning. It's just it's assets, right?
Yeah,
Tampa
and the money's
doesn't-
tricky.
Well, you have a Sergachev on LTIR, so
Yeah, well, not
it's-
for this year, but to re-sign
Oh
him.
yeah,
Right? Like, he's gonna-
It might just be a rental, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So we don't know about that. And for picks, Tampa's looking pretty thin and prospects. So I'm not sure if you guys have any other thing other than Tampa here.
Yeah, so just Tampa Bay doesn't have a first, a second, a fourth in the upcoming draft.
Yeah.
And then in the next draft, they also don't have a first. So, they don't really have any prospects, really.
No.
They don't really have any picks. But I'm also on the same thing. I think there's definitely... I think he's either going to Tampa or Boston.
I was gonna say Boston.
And neither
too.
really
Boston
have
guy.
the assets. And I don't know.
I don't really even.
I don't
Like Boston's thin on the back end there, but
But
the
yeah, I
same
think
thing.
Tampa needs him way more.
But what like it's the same. Who's getting shipped to Calgary then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Both those teams. That's the question mark. And Hannafin looks good on any roster, especially those two. But how you gonna make it work?
Yeah, we'll see if that's a trade that might not even happen, right? Like
Yeah.
Calgary can he's young enough to stay in Calgary, right?
Yeah.
So
well, I think
just,
they said that he's by Friday at 3 Mountain Time.
it'll be his decision.
And he's kind of as good as gone by the sounds of it right
yeah,
now. And
we'll see
things
about
change
that.
quick.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, I guess I can get rid of Anna Henrique. Move on to the top forward of the rumor board here. Jake Gensel, Pittsburgh. So many different storylines coming out with him. 50 games played, 52 points, 22 goals, $6 million done after this year. So I'm going to bring up to the Canucks rumor, how they want to flip Elias Lindholm to Boston and then make a trade for Gensel, which is crazy. I don't know. Do you guys think that's going to happen?
my gut says no.
Yeah, that's just too much.
I don't see it happening, but I would love to see it happen if that makes any sense at all.
Something I would do in like NHL franchise mode.
Yeah, that's an NHL franchise mode move right there.
I don't know. Like, I think it's a deterrent, I think, to free agents. Like, not only are you having to come play in Canada, but it's also like Lindholm was an all-star and like you traded for him less than a month ago and you're going to flip him again. Like, I don't know. It'd be so sick to watch happen because that'd be funny, but
Yeah.
I also really don't want Vancouver to pick up Gensel. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. As a Oilers fan, you kind of want him to come here, but it's not going to happen.
It'll be very tricky to do that.
Yeah.
So, any team predictions? We'll just go around right here.
I bet you the Knights pull something off, honestly. Yeah. As much as I hate to say it, I think he's bound. And Mantha, it kind of shores up a little bit of a left wing spot if you don't get him, but
If you get him.
Kelly makes moves.
Yeah.
Kelly ain't scared to throw.
I mean, it's Vegas, right?
Throw some stuff around.
Seems always happen.
Yeah.
I agree with Vegas. Like, I mean, they're not doing like horrible right now, but they're not like doing their usual. Like they're usually like second. So like they're usually not in the wild card at this time of year.
Yeah.
So they might be trying to make big moves to secure like a third or second spot.
Yeah.
It helps not having Mark Stone right now.
100%.
So,
And the owner, he doesn't care about getting up on the stage and making drafts, right? Like
Yeah.
He'd sell the farm. We don't care. We're winning.
Even if
today.
the draft's in Vegas, they don't care.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Honestly, like, I kind of, for some reason, I feel like he might not get moved. All this talk, like, but I feel like if he does, like, it could definitely go to Vegas, but I feel like it's like a dark horse. Like, I feel like it's going to be somebody that we don't expect, and I think, like, it'll be somebody, if that's the case, then I think it'll be somebody that has the money to re-sign him. Like, I think for some reason, Nashville is in my head, but I don't think it really makes any sense.
That
like
would be,
at all.
That'd be insane.
But they have cap space right now, and like, they refuse to go into a rebuild. So like, I can see them just doing something whack like this. Like Trotz is his first year as a GM, right? So might want to really make a big splash.
Yeah, and even like the Rangers is kind of a question mark.
Yeah,
because they were in on Carrick and Henrique.
Yeah.
Until the Oilers got him, there was big rumors surrounding that. They kind of went all in last year with Tarasenko and Kane, so they have history of spending.
Going in,
Again, I'm not super familiar with their prospect pool and their draft picks, but
it's pretty good.
Yeah, they can make something work. And to your point, where he doesn't get moved, there's kind of buzz around Crosby being all upset that he's rumored, and if he moves, that he won't be very happy. So I don't know. If I'm Dubas, I don't really want to ruffle feathers with Sid.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fallout with that. Like, it's pretty much split 70-30. 70% of people are saying he'll never leave. 30% of people are like, I don't know, because his contract's due in 2 years. And, like, if you get rid of his winger, he's going to be pissed. He's gonna be super pissed. If it kind of looks like they're giving up on him a little bit when they're talking about trading these big parts away from him.
Yeah.
And like maybe not this year, but if they struggle next year, like do we see Crosby finally throwing the hat in and moving away? He's not done yet.
No, not at all. He's playing his best hockey right now.
He's not done at all.
This is statistically like the best season we've ever seen for the 36-year-old.
Yeah, I know,
like,
right?
Yeah.
Like,
he has the most goals, I think, this year than since he's had in 2013 or something.
yeah.
Like, this is the athletes of today that can play until they're 40 years old and produce. Like, I don't know. I'd send him to Colorado, team him up with Nate. Like, that'd be sick. But
I don't think
it's
Sid
gonna be
wants
tough.
that.
No,
Sid wants to stay in Pittsburgh.
Sid's a pen for
and
life,
especially convincing Dubas this year to extend Malkin and Letang. Like,
That's what I was going to bring up.
I think he's really gonna have a hard time just quitting on everybody.
It's a bad look for Dubas if you trade away against extremely trading
Exactly.
for Erik Karlsson as well. Like you built this team to go to the playoffs and you're giving up halfway through. Like,
But who honestly would have thought that their power play would be that bad?
Yeah,
Like-
that's
and their goaltending is their best part. Like,
Which is crazy. Like, they've had like 7 shutouts this year for
Yeah,
goalies.
and
they've won
and it-
like
most in the NHL.
yeah, like I can't believe that.
Is Gensel really? Is it just rumor based, or is he like wanting to leave?
No, we haven't heard anything from
I don't
Gensel.
think he
Yeah.
is like dying to leave, but I think that like
I think he's dying to get paid.
So
Yeah,
do we think
exactly.
it happens? Like, do we think maybe he just stays?
Dubas gave
Well-
like a Wednesday night deadline.
Oh,
Like,
And they
that's
won,
when he
so-
wanted to see it be done. That's probably also just motivating for other teams, right? Like,
yeah,
giving deadlines saying, "Hey, give me your best offer," but
Dubas loves to talk.
It comes down to Dubas.
two
Like,
phones.
Yeah.
What up?
if you can't get a contract extension done by Friday, he's gone. Like, this is like you're either going to trade him now, get assets back, or get rid of him for nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
you do have to also think like I would assume that Gensel holds Crosby's opinion like quite close to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think like really like this is something that might even I could see it going until the off season and them saying like, all right, Sid, you gotta fucking talk to Gensel and
Yeah.
like convince him that this.
I don't
is
even
the
know
right
if they need
idea.
to tell Sid that, right?
Yeah,
I think
like,
that's just
exactly.
something that over the years he's probably developed a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Okay. I do think he goes to the Rangers or the Canes. I think could be another.
Canes
one.
I could see
Extremely
too.
Canes now not getting Pettersson. So they're
How
pretty
crazy
big
is
on
that, too?
Right.
like just to have that floated around
Mhm.
like at this point of the year with Vancouver first in the division.
Yeah.
Like I think honestly, if Carolina could have gotten a deal done for Pettersson and gotten a legitimate superstar, that totally
And-
changes everything.
And Carolina likes to signing people too, so
Yeah.
he's not going there to be a rental.
Exactly.
Right? So, I guess we'll move it on to the second best defenseman on the board, Jacob Chikrin from Ottawa, who's already back on the list, right?
Which is just unreal, hey?
Yeah, that's it's a tough look. 4.6 million for 2 years still, so this year and next year. So this could be a trade that happens in the offseason and doesn't have to happen right now, which I don't think it will, but we'll see. Florida, Colorado, Tampa Bay, New York's Rangers are in play for him, so we'll see if any of those hit. I'm not sure if you guys want to give your prediction.
I think Tampa again.
Yeah.
If they miss out on Hannafin,
Hanifin,
I think that's a logical number 2.
he's the next guy.
And like you said, I just have a hard time seeing them pick him up at the deadline last year and flip him at this year's deadline. And I mean, unforeseen circumstances, whatnot, right? But it feels weird. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen. But I mean, for the team with defensive needs, he's more than capable.
I mean, honestly, like if New Jersey wasn't in such a dump right now, I could definitely see
Yeah.
New
He'd be a
Jersey
great
being
fit.
in on it too. Like with them having cap room from Hamilton being down too.
Yep.
But
I don't. Yeah, hopefully he goes to.
Just like you got a team.
I agree with Tampa. It seems like they need the defense right now, and it's probably most likely. Like, there's a lot of dump teams right now that could use him, but they're not going to get him, right?
Yeah.
So it's like probability and need. When do they balance out?
Yeah, so we got about 7 minutes left. I'm just gonna start we're going to start going a little rapid fire here.
Okay.
So, Frankie for Toronto, Anaheim, all-star player right there. 57 games played, 48 points. I think he's going to Detroit. Pass around to you, Brendan.
Whoever can get him. I don't
Yeah.
have a specific team. I haven't really been keeping up on my Frankie Vatrano rumors, I guess.
No.
But, like you said, all-star. He's having a hell of a season.
Mm-hmm. And like Chikrin, he still has 2 years left on his deal, and a very cheap deal. So this could be another off-season move, or they keep him, right? Like, he's playing really well in Anaheim. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure where he'd go, honestly.
Yeah.
I could see him staying. Like, I could see him being a part of their core.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, Boston stands out to me.
Yeah, for a guy who needs a forward right now for a team. Yeah, I do see Boston trying to get him. That'd be a good pickup. I think, and for Anaheim, I feel like if you would trade him now. I think his value's at an all-time high, extremely,
100%.
like how the way he's played. But I guess we'll see on Friday.
Yeah, he's Boston's kind of player, right? That
Mhm.
makes total sense.
Okay, we're going to go back to New Jersey. Fitzgerald saying New Jersey needs a goalie. I'm going to name off 6 goalies here. You think any of them are going to get traded?
Not Markstrom.
So, Elvis Merzlikins, Jacob Markstrom, John Gibson, Jake Allen, Capo Kakinen, and Linus Ullmark I have written down. For Jacob Markstrom, I know Calgary came out and said that they don't want to trade him anymore, but a deal almost went in place with New Jersey with Markstrom waiving his no-trade clause. So that could always circle back around, right?
Always could. But, yeah, and just the media shit show that created.
Yeah, right.
I think they might almost hang on to him.
Yeah.
And
Sounded
maybe
like
try
it
and
was
sell him at next
basically
year's
like,
deadline.
Yeah, this is happening. He lifted his no-trade clause, and then, like, the ownership group came down and said no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is almost what it felt like, right?
And, like, I think he's, like, really pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not sure if you guys think any of those goalies I said are going to get traded.
Linus Ullmark is a big old question mark for me.
That's the biggest
kind of
one.
like his name floated out there. Boston seems to kind of be leaning more
Yeah.
towards Swayman, and if they're
Definitely.
thinking about making a run, I don't know why they would necessarily trade him, but only one goalie can play at a time, right? So if you can get something back, they have a lot of holes up front.
Yeah.
Could be a
New Jersey would be that team.
Yep. That one makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, Ullmark's a good name to throw out there. Same with Capo, so
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Like, I haven't heard any rumors about those except for Markstrom. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking Allmark, too, because, like, Boston's going to want an actual player coming back. And, like, I mean, obviously New Jersey said that they don't want to move to Foley, but, like, that does seem like probably the most logical trade connection there. Like, I mean, you probably have to give up more width to Foley to get Allmark, but, I mean, like, adding a legitimate goalie to that New Jersey team would, like, help a lot, I think.
Yeah. And Boston's in this position. Like, having 2 goalies is great, but, like, if you have that asset, why not? Right?
Especially with the
Yeah.
holes, right? Like, if they had depth down the middle still, but losing your 2 franchise core pieces down the middle over the last offseason, like, not necessarily saying you're going to go get Jack Hughes, right, in that trade,
Yeah.
but to get something from somewhere.
Even a Dawson Mercer.
There you go, right?
Like,
A guy that
That'd be a
can play.
great pickup. Good old Newfoundlander. Okay, also the Edmonton's getting a goalie in this deal for the Henrique deal.
What?
Real
John
quick.
Gibson.
Solars?
Ty Taylor. No idea who he is, but not sure if that's any significance. Also, Tampa's the team that's eating salary.
Tampa.
Tampa's the team.
What the
Really?
hell?
And they're getting an extra 4th. So,
Wow. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's crazy that Tampa is the one that's eating money.
yeah. Eating
wouldn't it be?
25%.
It'd usually be Oilers
Yeah.
eating salary. We've been for a long time now.
Mhm.
Thanks, Holland.
Okay, next player. We got 3 minutes here. So, Alex Wenberg, who's been being sat out for the last 2 games now for trade-related reasons, which is my favorite thing ever. A great middle 6 center, another center on the board. He's probably the next top center now after Henrique. So,
It sounds so terrible, and it's going to make for an absolute brutal podcast, but Boston again.
Boston.
It just, they need help down the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my pick as well.
I mean, I don't know if Tampa needs any forwards right now, but Tampa sounds like they can use all they can get right now. So maybe that's a good guess. I'm not sure.
I could actually see him going to Tampa too, but I also like gotta agree, like probably Boston and New York, like both teams like moving a lot at the deadline, and
Actually, if the Rangers are not getting their Adam Henrique, right? So
yeah,
that could be the guy.
I think them losing Blake Wheeler kind of fucked them up.
Yeah, big time.
Huge.
That's a hard hit for Wheeler to being out. So yeah, they got to fill that center or not center, just forward spot. But Wenberg can help out quite a bit. I like Wenberg a lot. Let's move to Anthony Duclair, San Jose. 16 goals, 27 points. That could be different from Stars game last night. 28 years old, only $3 million for the rest of this year, so you can get him pretty cheap. I think Edmonton could be a destination for Duclair.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see it.
We like him cheap.
I want to see reunion down in Florida for him.
Yeah, I also have that highlighted.
He's familiar with the game they play. I think he plays it well, and he was a little bit of a casualty there. And
why not?
Yeah,
get him back.
Reunite.
You think so too, Reece, Kylee? Sure.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he could probably like Edmonton would be sweet. I could see him being in Detroit.
Oh,
and
that'd be a good one.
I could also see him being in what did you just say? Florida. Jeez. I think like they could. I don't think they would have a problem bringing him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just about the time we have for this episode. Reece, I am sorry about the Broncos.
Hey, God forbid, next year.
Next year. It's always next year. Well, thank you for listening. Make sure you share the episode. See you guys next week.
That has been another episode of Around the Rinks, your go-to hockey podcast. We'll see you next time.